Hi everybody, I'm Vincenzo. Welcome to our 8th edition of Impact for the 2017-2018 school year. Today I'm going to show you what's new with our student assistant program, our school debate, and a few other things along the way, because it just makes sense. Let's start with the headlines. Model UN recently went to a conference in Baltimore where they met with many Model UNs from across the nation. Here's a recap of that event.
My name is Olivia Dragovitz, and I am the president of the Model United Nations Club here at Salisbury.
I'm the vice president of Model UN.
JUMUNC stands for the Johns Hopkins University Model United Nations Conference. It takes place in Baltimore in February every year, and it's a huge conference with, I think this year they had over 2,000 people, and those are delegates, so they're a bunch of students, and you get one out of maybe 20 different committees assigned to you, and then you go and debate for 4 days, and you go to like a ton of committees that are usually 3 to 4 hours long. So it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
The preparation is kind of like any other conference, but it's just a lot more because it is a 4-day conference and not the usual 1 day. So there's a lot more research that has to go into it. There's a plethora of other conferences there. There's from immigration to like a historic committee to a futuristic committee. There's so many different things there. My favorite part of the trip is being with so many like other kids that you probably will never see again because it's just kind of memorable. And also like you're not with, for the most part, you aren't with the people from your school, so you're working together with random people that you never met before, and it's pretty fun.
So I have two favorite things about JUMUNC since this is my last year. One is that you get to explore Inner Harbor when you're not in committee, so you get to walk down, see the sights, go to the restaurants that we don't have here, go to the National Aquarium. You can do all that kind of stuff on your free time, and it's so nice to be in a different environment. My other favorite thing is what's known as Midnight Crisis. So if you're in a committee that's a crisis committee, then they come and wake you up on, I think it's Friday night, Friday or Saturday night at around 1 in the morning, and then you have to go and debate at 1 in the morning, and it usually lasts until about 5 in the morning. So it sounds like it's really bad and like you'd be really tired, but it's so much fun, and a lot of times they try to make it fun for the delegates. So it's a lot of rushing around and it's a lot of stress, but it's also fun at the same time.
Our theater program has always been a huge part of Salisbury tradition. Our newest play, Once Upon a Mattress, was a huge success. Check out this video about the show and its preparation.
I'm Margot Pacheska. I've been in theater since my freshman year, so for 4 years. This is my 4th year, and I'm playing the minstrel in the play Once Upon a Mattress. So Once Upon a Mattress is basically Princess and the Pea. So there's a king who's, there's a prince who's looking for a princess, and his mom, the queen, is very particular. And so a princess comes, but she's not traditional, and she's very outlandish and loud, and it follows her story into the castle. So right now our rehearsal schedule is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sundays, and they're normally 3 hours a night, and then we get into Tech Week, which is the week before, and it's sometimes until 11 o'clock every single day. And it's a lot. There's a lot of practicing and blocking, which is basically going into the places that you're going to be walking and standing, how you're reacting to it, as well as there's choreography because it's a musical. And we have those interchangeable with our singing lessons, which are sometimes like Wednesdays, and we have to do it on our own as well and practicing lines. And then we have the crew who has to make the set, which takes a lot of effort and a lot of help from everyone. So our show this year is taking place March 15th to the 18th. So it's really, really soon, and I'm very excited. I really like this musical because it's really funny, and it's really fun to work with all the people and have really outlandish characters. And also you're taking it from like 1400s. So you have those historical costumes and very bright, colorful. It's really fun. Everyone works very, very well together, and their voices sound great. So there's a lot of singing, there's a lot of group dancing, and we start off the show with a huge number, and it's gonna be great, and definitely come see it.
A banner was made for the students of the shooting in Parkland, Florida. The students were asked to sign it. Here's a video about the banner itself.
Hi, my name is Leah Kimmy. I was a part of the group that helped organize and proctor the banner signing for Stoneman Douglas High School. After they went through their shooting, they asked that instead of all these people sending letters, because it'd be so many letters, for schools to sign banners, make banners, and send it to them so they can hang it up in the hallways for encouragement and support and whatnot. So at all the lunches, my friends and I, we put the banner on the table, and to our surprise, a lot of people went inside the banner. They wrote messages such as "Stay strong," "Stay hopeful," #NeverAgain, which is the movement that a lot of the students there are leading. Things like that were really, really nice and positive messages, which I really appreciated. It was really nice. And one of our students, Khalees, she's in my grade as well, she's a senior here, she drew our mascot, which is a falcon, and their mascot, which is the eagles, and wrote "We Fly Together, like next to each other. I thought it was really nice. It was a really nice way to intertwine our school and their school to show our support for them and help them like have a sense of us backing them up, like helping them with what they're going through now.
Okay, so I'm Grace Mitchell, and I designed the centerpiece of the banner that is being sent to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. So the piece was about our school and their school being connected and being together in this tough time. So I decided to do their logo, which is an eagle, and our logo, which is a falcon, and then put them together and have the phrase "We Fly Together" on it because we are all together in this tough situation. The piece took about an hour to draw, and then took about 2 or 3 hours to paint. For me, it's really important to me to have this piece be part of something so much bigger than just our little school, and I'm just glad that I was able to have the opportunity to just be able to contribute to such a important cause, and something that's super important going on in the world.
This just in. Things that are just in are just in. The yearbook held a Mario Kart competition for a special prize for the winner. It was a month-long tournament with a bunch of high school students getting together and playing Mario Kart on the Wii.
So what is the Mario Kart tournament hosted by the Yearbook Club about?
So pretty much it's just, well, there were previous time trials, and then the top 30 actually got into the actual tournament.
These are the top 30 people and their times. The way the tournament works is the top 30 people go up against each other because they had the best times in the time trials. The top 4 go against each other, and it continues on all the way to the top 30. The top 2 people from the time trials get a bye until the next round because of their best times.
Alright, so from there, then the top 30 get in, and then pretty much everyone just goes against each other, and then first place gets a prize of a free yearbook, and then second place will get a prize of half off yearbook.
So what place are you in for the Mario Kart tournament?
Right in number 2.
How do you feel about that?
Pretty upset. I was right there, and it wasn't even my fault.
So what are you looking forward to?
Claiming that number 1 spot, obviously.
The very final round of the tournament will take place in the auditorium where spectators can view it for only $1. The participants in the final round will be able to use their own controllers as well as they are for the other rounds. The final round will take place on Peach Beach as a course for Mario Kart.
TL 2020 is an initiative that SDSD came up with to bring technological knowledge and experience into the whole school district. Watch this video about TL 2020.
Hi, I'm Randy Zickenfuss, Superintendent in the Salisbury Township School District.
And I'm Lynn Feeney-Hetton, the Assistant Superintendent.
So we're here today to talk to you about the TL 2020 program, which stands for Teaching and Learning 2020. And this program was established a number of years ago to provide the Salisbury Township School District with a vision for learning with technology and without technology for all of our learners K through 12. As part of the program, all students have a digital device, a computing device, that is assigned to them, purchased by the district, and that they keep from one year to the other. It has evolved over the course of time to move beyond that initial infusion of technology into the teaching and learning environment. And over the last couple of years, we've been focused on this thing called the profile of the graduate, and a set of learning conditions that we believe are necessary for the most effective learning to happen in our classrooms to get us to the outcomes that are included in the profile of the graduate.
So you might be thinking, what is a profile of a graduate? And hopefully you've heard about it before. But during the 15-16 school year, Randy and myself, along with our building leadership team and our central office team, actually developed this vision for where we're going. So Teaching and Learning 2020 started as an implementation of hardware and some specific goals, and has evolved to what do we really want our classrooms to look like as we approach 2020. So we've talked with our stakeholders, we identified what knowledge, skills, and dispositions we want our learners to have when they graduate. And then we started thinking about, if we want our learners to have those knowledge, skills, and dispositions, how does our teaching and learning have to change in our classrooms? So with that, a set of learning beliefs evolved.
And I think what's important for folks to understand about the profile of the graduate and the learning beliefs is that they're really driven by the future in which these young learners are going to go into, whether they're graduating this year in 2018 or in 2030 when our kindergartners are going to be graduating. And so as educators, we're constantly thinking about what is the world going to be like, and what are those knowledge sets, those skill sets, and those dispositions that are going to allow them to be successful in whatever career and life challenges that they happen to encounter. So the profile and the way that we're thinking about transforming learning within the school district is driven by that sort of long-range view.
So we know that the jobs are going to be very different for our learners. Our kindergarten students are going to graduate from Salisbury and go into positions that we've probably never heard of. So how do we use our resources? How do we use our opportunities to engage these learners to develop the skills that they need for those future jobs? So we've been talking about Generation Z learners as the learners that we currently have in our buildings. So I want to just highlight our teachingandlearning2020.org website. If you go and take a look, it's a really great archive of the initiative over the years. It shows you where we started, it shows you program goals, it shows you some important documents that our students and our learners and our teachers need, and some policies. It also shows you some history of what's been happening in our classroom through stories at the bottom of the page. So visiting tl2020.org can really give you some more information about the program and the evolution of the program to where we are today with our profile of a graduate and our learning beliefs.
So if you look at this initiative, it's really designed by educators, teachers, and leaders to best prepare those who are in our care for the future that they're going to embrace once they leave us.
Whatever that future may hold for each individual learner.
Innovation is an important thing to keep things interesting. Check these videos out. James gives us a tech tutorial about how to use rack focusing with your videos and editing software for a more cinematic feel. Check out this amazing video. That was great. Thanks, James. Virtual reality has become a more prevalent part of society and a new frontier of possible technological advances. There's much more that we can learn about this new way of experiencing virtual reality. Sam made a feature for us about this new tech called virtual reality.
Google Cardboard is a virtual reality model made out of cardboard and works for any smartphone. This is one of the cheapest virtual reality models out there as of now, which only costs $15. Virtual reality is the computer-generated simulation of a three-dimensional image or environment that can be interacted with in a seemingly real or physical way by a person using special electronic equipment such as a helmet with a screen inside or gloves fitted with sensors. Virtual reality will probably affect our lives in many different ways. Google Cardboard can make education fun for kids and adults. The following are a few examples of the uses. The first example is going on virtual field trips, which uses the Expeditions apps. This app lets people take a virtual trip to lots of places around the world. The second example is taking your own 3D images in which you can use the Cardboard Camera app to take VR pictures. You can also record audio with your picture as well. The third example is preparing for a job interview, which is meant to teach you to practice being in an actual job interview. The person in the app asks you common questions for an interview, and you can practice answering them.
Ignite is a segment that makes you think. Here are some videos that will provoke some thought and hopefully some action. The generation born between the 80s, 90s, and very early 2000s are called millennials. They're a generation that is so different from the others, they were often a point of jest and controversy. Here's a video about this generation.
Texting instead of talking, Twitter as your social life, video games as activity. The world now comes to you, so why go anywhere? The pursuit of happiness has now become the surrender to happiness. Ready gratification.
millennials.
How many of us are a parent or a close relative of a millennial? Okay, so almost all of us either are a millennial or there's a young person in our life who we really care about. And so often when we talk about this age group, we talk about them as the world's future leaders or the next generation. But I think that young people should be insulted by that because we're not just the world's future leaders. We can make a difference and create positive change today. And history has shown this, and there's so many examples today that show this. Freedom Riders, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. We saw young people demand democracy in the Arab Spring. But did you know that in our own country, in the United States, Ben Franklin was a teenager when he began to lay the foundations of thought and networks for the American Revolution? Alexander Hamilton, John Quincy Adams, these people were 19 and 20 when they wrote their first papers in support of the Constitution. Big revolutions like these take young people who haven't let go of their ideals yet. They are championing fundamental values that they care about, and they're willing to go against the grain.
Very interesting. Our next feature today is about the ESSA, a brand new way of evaluating teachers in their own classroom. Teachers evaluating is very important to the health of public school systems. Check this out.
Hi, I'm Lynn Feedy-Hatton, the Assistant Superintendent in Salisbury Township School District, and in this segment we're going to talk about the ESSA Act, Every Student Succeeds Act in Pennsylvania. So we're going to first start talking about ESSA, or the Every Student Succeeds Act, and I'm going to refer to it as ESSA. You may hear it as ESSA or you may hear it as ESSA. So if you take a look at the slides, the ESSA Act actually does two things. First, it reauthorizes the Elementary and Secondary Education Act that was first passed all the way back in 1965, and second, it replaces the No Child Left Behind Act, or maybe you've heard of it as NCLB, which passed in 2002. But both of these statutes have the same goals. They want to make sure that all of our learners have equal opportunity, especially learners who are traditionally underserved. And also they want to make sure that the states spend the federal dollars in a way that is advancing equity and transparent. So as a result of the ESSA, or the Act, each state had to develop a system of accountability. And the states had to determine, how are they going to identify schools which need improvement? How are they going to support schools that need to improve? And they also wanted us to look specifically at the historically underperforming students. So students who have not traditionally been successful on our assessments, looking at those students to make sure that they have equal opportunity. So there are a lot of sections and a lot of components to the plan. There are long-term goals, there are ideas for consultation, there's information about assessments such as our PSSAs and our keystones. There's an accountability system supporting educators and supporting students. And Pennsylvania Department of Education has pretty clear guiding principles. They want funding to be transparent, they want there to be equity, and they want innovation in our schools. And finally, in terms of innovation, some things that the state is working on: reducing testing time for PSSAs, moving that PSSA testing window to later in the year. And if you have a child in grade 3 through 8, you might have noticed that PSSA testing is happening a little bit later this year. They've also added a new career ready indicator, so we are tracking career readiness in all of our students starting this year, and we'll be reporting out on students' career readiness benchmark attainment to the state later this year at the end of May. They're also using a PA Future Ready Index, and that Future Ready Index is going to replace the school performance profile so that stakeholders, parents, and community members and teachers and learners can learn a little bit more about the performance of our students in our schools. And finally, they are focusing on priority usage of the funds for STEM and computer science. So a couple of things that parents and families and our learners will see in terms of the PA Future Ready Index and ESSA and changes for us. First, we're going to see a reduction in state testing time. So our students are going to spend less time taking those required PSSAs. Currently, we test grade 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 in reading and math, or ELA in math, and we test grade 7 in science in grade 7 and 4. We're also going to see some non-academic measures of success in the PA Future Ready Index. We're going to see the career readiness assessment. So are our students attaining the career standards and the career benchmarks? Are they creating a career pathway for themselves? Are they creating a career plan? Are they creating some documents to help them and support them in future attainment of career, things like interest inventories, letters of interest in positions or applications or resumes. So how do we help our students prepare for whatever is next, whatever their next career step is, and provide them with some learning experiences starting early on in elementary school and building upon each other until they graduate from high school. They're also going to look at our absenteeism, and they're going to talk about graduation rates. Those are areas that Salisbury has traditionally done well in. We have a high graduation rate. So there are some wins for us in terms of this act and how it will affect our learners. And there are some additional requirements that we'll need to meet as a school district in terms of documentation. And some of the PA Future Ready indicators are going to look a little different in this than they did from the school performance profile. So we're going to see the state assessment measures. We're going to continue to see the PSSAs that I just talked about. We're going to continue to see the Keystone exams in algebra, literature, and biology. And they're going to look at both performance and growth. And then we're going to see some on-track measures. Are our third grade reading scores where they need to be to ensure that our students are reading and learning to read and reading to learn, and our 7th grade math scores, which they feel are a strong indicator of success in algebra, are those scores where they need to be for students to be on track for success in their future careers. So I've given you a very brief overview of this very comprehensive state plan, the PA ESSA Consolidated State Plan, which was put into effect in mid-January of this year. If you want to learn more, check out the website. You can list it on the screen. You can learn more. You can see the full plan, learn more about the process and what it means for Pennsylvania and other states across the United States.
Well, that does it for this episode of Impact. We will see you in a few weeks for the 9th show. Have a great one, Salisbury.